Hello and welcome back to the Renaissance Swagger channel. I am super pumped about this particular video. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I've been caked in 3 to 4 inches of ice here in Kentucky because we've had the worst snowstorm, ice storm that anyone remembers on record, and that was problematic for doing this. This is the DJ Shipley Fitness Challenge. DJ Shipley is a former SEAL Team 6 operator, the best of the best, the elite, and he devised these series of tests to determine your overall physical capabilities. It doesn't just focus on one thing like cardio or strength. It is an across-the-board overall assessment of your physical versatility. He's thinking obviously about professionals, but also for folks that just want to make sure that they're capable. If you need to save somebody's life or defend yourself, how ready are you? So he's tiered this particular test. I'm gonna go over the tiers in a second and how that works. But suffice to say, this is a cool test. If you haven't seen my FBI fitness test video, please check it out. This is a step beyond that, I think. All right, so let's go over the fitness test. And just to be clear, although it was created by DJ SEAL Team 6, this obviously is not a SEAL Team 6 fitness assessment. That's doesn't need to even be said. That's going to be much, much harder. It's what he calls the Universal Fitness Challenge, meaning, no, this is a good standard to be at. If you need to save your life, you need to save somebody else's life, you need to do something, are you prepared? All right, so again, as I mentioned, I love the fact that it covers a wide variety of, cardio, grip strength, playing just knockout strength. So Pullups is the first guy, and he's got the standard, the elite, and the pro, 10, 15, and 20. And then you have the standard. Oh, I should mention with pull-ups, obviously we're testing your ability to pull yourself out of a situation. That could be very important. He's obviously gearing this towards folks that are, might be firemen, might be active duty military, and they need to be able to pull themselves up. So that's why the pull-ups. The standing long jump, which is not going to be a running jump, is going to be your height, is the bare minimum, 12 inches in addition to that, or 24 in addition to that for the top tier. An 800-meter sprint. This is an interesting one. 800-meter sprints are pretty tough. They really are if you're doing them right. It's going to take you to complete failure. 3:15 is the standard. 3 minutes is the elite. And then again, this pro category, which I keep flipping in my mind. But 2:45 for the pro is going to be your top score there. That's a really good one. It is going to assess your ability to run a very practical distance as fast as you can in a real life situation. I think that's why he picks the 800 meter as opposed to, say, like a 2-mile run or something like that. Farmer's carry, this is going to be your body weight. So I weigh 150 pounds. And that's going to be 2 dumbbells, so 75 pounds and 75 pounds for me. And of course, whatever weight you are. For 175 feet, 225 feet, or 250 feet if you want to score the top category. There's going to be a caveat to this when we get to the actual test. So hang with me on that. I'll explain it. Bench press is going to be your body weight for 10, 15, or 20 reps. Again, 150 for me. I really like that he's using body weight because, especially these traditional compound weights, like the bench press or the deadlift, because your body weight does matter. And so if you weigh more and you have a heavier frame, that's going to help you. This is all about your ability to manage your own body in arguably what might be a stressful situation or a tough situation. So that's why he's going with the body weight. So 150 pounds. Deadlifts is going to be 1.5 times your body weight. 175 or 2 times your body weight, and planking for 2, 2.5, or 3 minutes. So let's go ahead and we'll hit it and we'll see what happens. All right, so I'm back here at my local track or wannabe track. As a reminder, or if you saw the FBI fitness test, it's not 400 meters, it's actually 300 meters. So it's going to be 2 laps and then another 2/3 of the way around the track. It won't be 2 laps like a regular Olympic style track. I don't know why it's 300 meters, but there it is. I've paced it out and I've also used the GPS. So someone went 300 meter track. Up first, I'm going to do the standing long jump. So the standards here again, your body height is going to be the standard. So you have to jump at least your body height. Your body height plus 12 inches is the next tier, and then the pro tier, which is his highest tier, is your body height plus 24 inches. So we're going to go ahead and go for that. I've got a tape measure out here. Okay. And it's based on where my heels land. I'm not going to lie, I don't normally do this. All right, and you can't move, you gotta stay planted. So we're gonna have a look and see. We're gonna zoom the camera over here and see where I landed. It looks at 7 feet. 7 feet is my closest. All right, we can take, all right, cool. So that would be my body height. I'm 5'10", so 70 inches plus another 12 inches. So I'm gonna get what he calls his elite standard. Elite standard is not the highest tier. There's the standard, and then he calls it elite, and then pro. So I get an elite on the standing long jump. Now for the 800 meter sprint. Now I'm not going to lie and try to show some gravitas or bravado here. 800 meter sprints are no fun. I have done them in the past. Typically, I will do it in around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. DJ standard is to be able to do it under 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That's his highest tier. That is going to be the pro tier. Back at my office, we'll double check that. That being said, there's nothing fun about an 800 meter sprint. It hurts, and honestly, if you're doing it right, your body's pretty much shutting down towards the end of the sprint to the point where you really can't support yourself on your own 2 feet. So if you ever felt like, hey, I don't want to get out and do this workout, or I don't like the way, it's been a long day, and you're tired, you don't like the way you feel, as opposed to what? You just got to get out there and do it, no matter how you feel, you just do it anyways. And I've done this before, and every single time, it never gets easier. It always hurts, it always sucks, but you do it anyways. So, honest, and if I had to be really honest with you, I wasn't looking forward to this all day, but I knew I was going to do it. I try to do it weekly. It's been an ice age here in Kentucky where I live, so literally everything just thawed. This was caked in 4 inches of ice for the past few weeks, so I'm a little rusty there, but we'll see how it goes. 800 meters, and we'll see how it goes. All right, and I will be, as a reminder, it's going to be 2 laps and then 2/3 of a lap. There is a stump that I use as a marker on the other end, and you'll see as we go. So starting now. Okay, now I'm gonna recover. All right, so I've given myself about a 10-minute break after that sprint. Those are really hard. Pretty much, if you're doing it right on an 800-meter sprint, regardless of you're just trying to stay in shape or pass some kind of test, your body is pretty much stopping for you. So it's not really a factor of the pain so much as it is your body is just mechanically shutting down. And that's the case. That was the case with me on that sprint. You could probably tell towards the end I started to slow down. That was not me wanting to quit. That was my body just shutting down. So that being said, we're going to do the next phase, which is a farmer's carry. Again, not an exercise that I go to the gym and do, or something that I work. I don't live on a farm. I don't have any reason to practice this. So this is a test of grip strength. And the standards are at least 175 feet standard, 225 feet elite, and then his top category, again, he calls it pro, it's the other way around, is anything over 250 feet. Excuse me. For this track, because it's 300 meters, it's going to be a quarter of the track to get the top category, but I need to make it at least to this pole to get the bare minimum, the standard. Excuse me, y'all. It is cold out here, and that dry air is affecting my breathing. So the standard is based on body weight, and I weigh 150 pounds, believe it or not. I do not have 75-pound dumbbells because it's body weight, so that would be a 75-pound dumbbell on each side. So I have completely paperclip and chewing gum my own homemade rig here. This is two 60-pound dumbbells, excuse me, two 30-pound dumbbells, and then a 12-pound dumbbell on top, duct taped together. I'm sorry, you work with what you got. That's what I got. I know it's a little bit under my body weight, but I think, suffice to say, the awkwardness of this is going to more than make up for it. And to make matters worse, I don't have two sets, one for each side. So I'm going to have to do one side on the way there, however far I get, and on the other side on the way back, which, if you've never done any kind of workout like this, it's harder always when you're doing just one side, because you have to stabilize in your core. You don't have the weight on the other side to balance you out. Trust me, that is the harder route anyway. So hopefully that makes up for the couple pounds I lost on the weights. Excuse me. Okay, so we gotta make it at least that pole, and I'm gonna figure out how to grab this. I have no idea. Probably like this, and go. Okay, we made it 225 feet, and again, I've also paced this out. Now let me know in the comments if you feel like it needs to be on track. Let me know. We're gonna go all the way back, left-handed, not very comfortable on the grip, by the way, but we're gonna do it for God, country, in England, and all that. Just kidding. All right, so that would be 225 yards, which is the pro, that's the top tier. Let me know what you think, guys. I'm not sure. I don't normally practice these, like I said. So I'm not sure having to do it twice, one on each side, is harder. You obviously can get a little bit more speed if you're doing it with one side, but you also got the awkwardness you have to support with your core. All right, next up, we have bench press, a deadlift, and of course, it wouldn't be right if there wasn't planking. See you shortly. Getting ready to do the final phase of DJ's test, and I say final phase, he doesn't prescribe a particular order. And the final phase for me, because of the way I stacked it, is going to be the planking. The bare minimum standard here is 2 minutes. I think that's totally fair. 2.5 minutes for what he calls his pro tier, his elite tier is the middle tier. And then that pro tier that he talks about is going to be 3 minutes of planking. I'm going for the 3 minute full enchilada here. So we'll go ahead and get rolling. Starting now. Okay. Now planking, it's very important that you engage your core. Keep your back as straight as possible. And I have a little bit of goofy posture going on. So if you think my back looks a little hunched, blame it on being 40. Okay, right now we're at about 30 seconds. Already starting to feel it. It never gets easy. It never gets easy. And we're getting ready to come up on the 1 minute mark. When you plank, you can plank like this with your elbows. Some people like to do it in kind of a push-up format. That's cool too. I like the elbow version. That's how I learned it. I've stuck with it ever since. Okay. Making sure we're going to keep that form solid. Don't let it'll start to break down on you as you start to fatigue. You have to stay focused. We're at the 1.5 minute mark. And tighten the glutes and the core. Sometimes if you start to slouch, you notice your glutes aren't tight. So you're going to keep those engaged along with your core. Don't know why I'm out of breath. This is not a cardio workout. Okay, we're past 2 minutes, so we have met his standard. I think I'm going to call this the not couch potato standard. 45 more seconds. And if you've ever done a challenge like the Bring Sally Up push-up challenge, it's essentially planking and push-ups combined for 3 minutes. But I'm going to say, even though 3 minutes is a reasonable standard, it goes a little bit easier with the push-ups. It just does. Okay? About 10 seconds remaining. Okay, we'll show the camera the time. 3 minutes. And in truth, I know DJ prescribes 3 minutes as the top, and with all due respect to DJ, but planking Go for 5 if you can. Don't stop at 3. All right, now we're gonna score it up. One of the things that I really like about these kinds of fitness tests is they're a great benchmark. So you do it, you score yourself, and then you come back a year from now after you've pursued whatever you're doing with your fitness goals, and you go, hey, did I lose any ground in any of these areas? It's a really good reality check. The other thing that I like about this is it really points out where you have weaknesses. So if there is, let's say that you have really great cardio, but you don't have great upper body strength, or whatever it is, it's going to really stand out in this type of fitness test. And you're going to see it's going to give you places to work if you're trying to go for a more well-rounded thing. Well, let's go ahead and talk about how I did. So for the pull-ups, as you saw in the video, I scored a 20. Not surprised by this. This is something that I regularly work. It's very important to me. I think that this number here is a good number. It's nice that he gives us this range. With all due respects to DJ, he's definitely a pro. You could even go further in pull-ups, just my personal opinion. Long jump, this one is kind of tough. I did get the elite, as you saw again in the video. With this, I wonder, there's a big difference between going from here to here, and I want to say that's probably going to be a really specialized thing. Of all the things on the board, this one strikes me as the least practical per se. I'm sure that I'm not thinking about something there that he's thinking about, but just I don't see this in terms of like everyday, like, you're trying to save someone's life, or you're trying to save your own life, or whatever the from his perspective what that might be. I'm not sure, but it is obviously important to be able to jump, so I get it. It's just that one was, to me, I put the least amount of weight on that one. 800-meter sprint, my time was 2:27. I do emphasize cardio. I think cardio is important. To me personally, I think it should come first. I think if you don't have good cardio, you can't maximize your strength, because the cardio is the limiting factor. So I do work my cardio. So I got the top tier there. Farmer's carry. Okay, guys, I had to improvise with my farmer's carry. I don't know which the better way to assess. Obviously, he prescribes doing a dumbbell in each hand. Again, link will be below to his video. I had to work with what I had. Hopefully that was a fair assessment. Later, if we want to do a restrike on this, or we think we need to, maybe I can get my hands on some dumbbells. But it was not practical to do in my gym. I was able to get the pro on that. Now, something I'm just gonna call myself out, that struck me as being easier than I expected. So it makes me wonder if I had the 2 dumbbells, maybe it would have been more challenging. I can't think that it would have been that much more challenging, but this struck me as easier than it should have been. So that's always a red flag, based on the way I did it. Bench press was a fail. I did not put it on the video not because it was a fail. I'm calling that out obviously now, but because I didn't have a good way to film it in my gym. Where the deadlift area is, there's a great place to put my phone, but I didn't have anyone with me when I was filming this. And so I just didn't have a way to film it. But my bench press, this is a weakness for me personally. My frame, I have kind of a narrow frame. I think that kind of hurts me. My typical bench press is going to be 135 for 10 reps. That's kind of what I do. So I knew I wasn't going to get the 150 for 10 reps. And I did the bench press, but it is a fail, okay? Deadlifts, I was able to do 1.75. Now, DJ does use the bumper plates to lift the deadlift because he has some lower back problems. He's also a very tall guy, and so I give him a break there. I did not do that. I came from the ground. Lastly, planking, I went for 3. This one I draw the biggest question mark on, right to an opinion. I believe that really should probably be more like the bare minimum. You can absolutely go longer. Now, if you are doing this stacked with all these other exercises, you're going to be more fatigued. But suffice to say, 5-minute plank is obviously not very doable. So give this one a try. That's the important thing. That's why I'm doing these videos. It's not about me. I'm trying to encourage people to get out there, get fit, see how you stack up, see where you might need to do work. I clearly need to do some work on my bench press. But please go try this test. Don't just watch the video. I really want you to try it. And if you got anything out of this at all, anything, please at least like or subscription is definitely appreciated. There's going to be more videos like this, I promise, and they're going to get more interesting as they go and as resources allow. But please like or subscribe. And as always, thank you so much and take care.